When flight came to be, Children First was already really living a lot of the flight concepts. Might not have put it in the exact language, but it was already there. So in 2018, we were one of the ELCC centers that got the grant to be part of the pilot project. So we were all learning together. The staff and I were figuring out what flight was all about, how to say pedagogical, and what that meant.
Flight can look different depending on what part of the center you're in, what room you're in. I think the educators have done a really great job in integrating their own skills and strengths when they're implementing flight within the rooms. You can see that practice of relationship is strong. We've worked really hard at that aspect of making sure that we're building genuine connections with one another. I think that when families come into the center, they can see that the environment is home-like. We are built into homes. But that can also look very sterile if the right materials aren't in place and that relationship piece isn't there.
We've worked a lot on the environments here at Children First, really working for those home-like environments. So many of those beautiful tables that you see have been cut down by my husband. I have loaded up my car from Edmonton Goodwill to bring tables home for him to cut down. Brittany and I actually worked on the view from the door. Really getting down to the children's level and looking at that environment and what it looked like to children. And that was really powerful for Brittany and I. And then it started to flow into the rooms. And as educators could see the value in it and the changes that it made in it, it was really nice to see. And then we saw that ripple effect. So all those little tiny things again started to ripple out and people started making changes in their room and their environments.
If there is perception of the image of the child, if you perceive it that way, that the children that you're taking care of are strong, capable, resourceful, as an educator, we also have co-educators that will interact with these strong and mighty learners and citizens. It creates a place of vitality again. Early learning and childcare education is not easy. But because of the flight framework, with the flight curriculum, it helped me a lot to have a guide, to have a focus that we don't need to be overwhelmed in taking care of the children, because we create this community of practice, of possibilities, and it's a place of vitality. I think that really helps me to have a good relationship with the children in recognizing the time, the space, and the materials. That's how it opens up our role as a co-learner, co-imaginer, and co-researcher for these children.
Flight has really guided us in getting to realize that relationships are at the core of everything that we do. We wouldn't be able to work on our responsive environments if we didn't have those strong connections and the strong relationships. So initially, when I came into a leadership role, I wanted to inspire the educators and I wanted to see flight incorporated into the program. It turned out that we had to build those strong relationships first and become a more cohesive team.
And I think the thing for Children First that they've really worked on and has been a focus is the participation piece. That notion of us all being co-learners has really been one of the things that has helped keep Children First focused on how important our relationships are with each other, with the children, with the families.
It kind of gives us a grounding of everything we do. So we can base so much on our relationships, whether we're doing that co-learner, co-researcher, co-imaginer piece, talking about notice, name, and nurture. It's starting to bring that common language into everybody as they come into the center, and it gives us a really strong base. And that base has helped support many of our new educators here because they can see it happening in action and everybody is doing it. So I think it has kind of brought our community within Children First really tight. It's a really strong group of women. We've got a pretty beautiful place here with lots of materials, and our materials have changed. Over time, they have changed to become much more natural, much less plasticky. There are still some plastic things that every once in a while they show up and we're like, where did this come from? And nobody seems to know. And then they just disappear. We're always going to be evolving.
Another project that we worked on over the past year and a half at Children First was creating a Reggio-inspired atelier for the children to create in. We wanted a space where children could create artwork with no end in mind. We wanted it all process-based driven, just to see what they could come up with at the end. So with our community partners, we were able to collect materials to bring into the atelier. We collected materials together, we had everything donated, and it cost us about $200 at a thrift store to find the other materials that we wanted. So we put it together, and the children have really been exploring, creating. We're noticing it being used more and more, so it's great to see how they can continue to explore and adapt, and we're excited to see where it goes from there. Our journey with flight has changed so much over the years. We started in 2018, and I think right now we have such a strong, cohesive team that I can't wait to see how it continues to evolve.
In the last probably year and a half, I have become more of that co-learner, co-researcher, co-imaginer of possibilities, really thinking about what we want to do here and why we want to do it. We've all learned to celebrate the little things. Sometimes you think it has to be so big and so beautiful, and it's all those little tiny pieces that make it so big and so beautiful. So we really look at those small, really important changes and how they have impacted us here.
It has been wonderful. It has been joyful learning, not just locally, but also the provincial connection that we have, the regional learning communities that we've established. So for our educators, they now see themselves as part of the North region, and we got to celebrate that together, and I think that's been really wonderful.
These children are treasures of their parents, right, of their families, and it's a privilege for me as an educator to be able to give them this peace of mind that their children will be taken care of, that they are treated as resourceful, mighty, and capable children. I'm thankful for the flight curriculum, because it opened up this passion for me to be in love with what I do as an early childhood educator.